Now, let's be joined now by Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports, joining us here on Birds 365. Jeff, good Monday to you, sir. How you doing? Birds win their 8th straight yesterday and get to 10-2, Jeff.
Yeah, bullied the bully.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
Right.
I was talking about that. I don't think anybody out physical to anybody. I think it was two physical teams playing physically, and I think the Eagles wore them down with their ability to do different things on offense. And we talked about, to me, the key play in the game, and I mean that, is the Dallas Goedert third down right before the two Saquon runs that sort of sealed the game. In between, they sandwiched the Jalen Hurts run. That 3rd and 7, the Ravens are about to get off the field. They're pumped up, got a chance. And then Eagles aren't throwing the ball since A.J. Brown in the second quarter. Perfect throw to Dallas Goedert, first down. You could hear the wind almost come out of him.
Jalen Hurts threw 5 passes in the second half, but when they needed him to make a throw, he made it.
Yeah. And then it was Saquon for 14, Jalen for 11, and Saquon for 25. Bang, bang. The wind came out of their sails, Jeff Kerr, on that 3rd and 7. And the Eagles do that week in and week out.
They just seem to make a play when they need to make a play. I thought the A.J. Brown quotes on Saquon was great yesterday. It's like, okay, put your cape on. We need you to put your cape on. And, Saquon Barkley has more rushing yards in the fourth quarter than 27 NFL teams.
Oh, my gosh.
By the way, the Eagles are one of them. So let's not count. So technically, I guess you could say of the 31 teams, Saquon is more than 27.
Yeah, because if the Eagles are one of the 14, I mean, he's the reason that the Eagles are one of the 14.
Yeah, it's the Ravens, the Texans, the Steelers, the Eagles. I forget the other team in there. But
the resurgence of the running back in the NFL, guys, is that a real thing? You guys think this position could pick back up value in the NFL?
I don't know about value.
They keep
go ahead.
2 high safeties. That it will.
I think Vic talked about that last week. He said it's never gone anywhere, and he was talking about the running backs' impact. Just people are using it a little bit more. They finally got back to it because, some of the too high stuff that Jeff talks about. Everybody's trying to limit the big play. Everybody's got small athletic people on the field defensively, so. Somebody woke up one day and said, all right, let's try to bully these guys. And then you'll see the adjustment back. But are they going to be valued monetarily? I still don't see it.
Depends on who it is, too. Like, who's going to be available. Like, you had generational running backs this offseason. You had an NFL rushing champion in Josh Jacobs, who was a free agent. Green Bay couldn't wait to get their hands on him. Raiders just let him walk for obvious reasons. Derrick Henry, he's older, but
Titans but look at their contracts is what I'm saying compared to, and forget about quarterbacks because quarterbacks are different. Saquon got a big deal for the Eagles and for the running back position. You didn't get a big deal for an edge rusher or a cornerback or even a top tier safety. Xavier McKinney got more money. He's having a great year.
The value that Saquon has at $12 million, it's absurd to think about.
It's a great value for what the NFL values a running back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that going to change that part of the equation? I don't think so.
Now, you know what, John? Even when running backs were the Emmitt Smiths and the Sean Alexanders and, just those two eras, they weren't really getting paid that much then either.
No, well, comparatively, if you could, certain guys were at the top of the food chain, minus the quarterbacks. Adrian, who I covered, was at the top of the food chain. But that's it.
But he was 101.
Yeah. And right now, Saquon's at the top of the food chain, running back. Christian, who's obviously hurt again. That's a bad injury, too, by the way. PCL.
By the way, 49ers stink.
They stink. And I don't know what Christian McCaffrey That might be one of the reasons that the price doesn't go up, John, because you see
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's you lose a guy like that, you're paying him a lot of money, and he's hurt. You're done.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't see that part of the dynamic changing. And if you Derrick Henry, because of his age, he didn't get a lot of money. Josh Jacobs, yeah, he got a lot of money for a running back, but again, not a lot of money. But they're all impactful. That's the interesting part. They're still amongst the most impactful players on the field. In the case of Saquon, the most impactful. In the case of the other guys, among the most impactful. The NFL's weird how they value things. Like I said, Xavier McKinney's having a great year, all pro year. I'm not trying to pick on him, but he makes significantly more than all these running backs. You can have an impact on the game as a safety like you can as a running back. It's weird how the NFL values things.
Yeah, I don't understand how. And I guess I'm going with this, like you mentioned McKinney too. I'm trying to think of other highly paid safeties right now, because I think McKinney's the highest, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, there's a lot of high paid safeties. I'll look them up real quick. But you know what the NFL has done with safeties is they tend to pay proven guys more than younger guys. You know, like in the draft, they don't give a lot of value.
Yeah,
Antoine,
you don't see a guy like Taloa Hufnaga getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Antoine,
who stepped in last night? What's his name? I'm blanking on his name. Tristan McCullum. He almost had a big play last night. In place of
CJ was funny about that. But
by the way, John, did you happen to catch the two interesting healthy scratches for the Ravens when the inactives came out yesterday?
Yeah. Well, Marcus Williams.
Yeah, who gets paid a lot of money.
Healthy. Kyle Van Noy wasn't.
No, not Kyle. Keaton Mitchell's healthy, and they decided not to play him.
Yeah, Marcus Williams having a terrible year. I don't know what happened to him. He was a good player.
Might be Zach Orr.
Yeah, but I can't put that on Zach Orr. I mean, he's playing. So it's Antoine Winfield, $21 million. Derwin James, $19 million.
He's a beast, by the way.
Yeah, Micah Fitzpatrick, $18.24 million. Then comes McKinney, 16.75. Jesse Bates is over 16.
That's right. Jesse Bates makes a lot now too.
Marcus Williams makes 14. The Eagles wanted to sign Marcus
Eagles
Williams.
did one 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They lost out.
So there are a lot of safeties, who make big money. And those are all great players, by the way. All the top guys I just mentioned are all Winfield, James, Fitzpatrick, McKinney, Bates, top 5. All great players, every single one of them.
The Cincinnati Bengals should have paid Jesse Bates, by the way.
Well, they should have.
They're not paying anybody other than their quarterback. Jeff, let's go to the defense yesterday, man. They continue to impress. You go up against Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and one of the best offenses in the NFL, and you come out. I mean, I know it says 19, but shit, it really was more like 12. It is 19. You got to count it.
It was 12 and under 300 total yards. Let's be realistic.
I mean, it was unbelievable, Jeff, what the defense was able to do to them yesterday. They bended at times, but they certainly did not break. What'd you make of the Eagles' defensive performance yesterday?
You know, against the team, number one offense, they shut them down. I mean, did Lamar miss throws? Yes. Did Lamar try to win the game on one play several times yesterday? Yes. But that's what happens when you contain Derrick Henry, when you're making thunderous hits like Cooper DeJean. And Milton Williams had 9 pressures yesterday. Jalen Carter at 8, Josh Sweat at 7. You're going to win a lot of games when you're getting pressures like that from those 3. And by the way, Moro Jomo ended up with 3 pressures yesterday. Just an insane game by that pass rush. I know Lamar kind of skews it because he holds the ball longer than pretty much anybody, but you're getting pressure on him and you're kind of forcing him to make decisions. And I know he had some time back there, but I think Lamar was off because of what Vic Fangio carved up for him yesterday.
Oh, yeah, and I wonder who's getting hit early. You never know how that impacts a quarterback, and I think he was feeling it a little bit early because the pass rush was really impressive. I was surprised by that. First game without Brandon Graham, we all talked about what are they going to do on the edge. It's basically just 3 guys.
I mean, Jalen Carter said it best to me yesterday. I asked him about Jordan Davis, and he said, look, I hope people recognize what he did yesterday. He deserves it.
They'll never recognize that. But Jordan played very well.
Kobe Dean had a really good game yesterday, too.
The whole defensive front was off the charts good. You mentioned Milton.
The edge.
Nolan Smith, even though he's a pain in the ass at times in the locker room. He had a great game.
Why is he a pain in the ass in the locker room? What's that mean?
Yeah.
We'll keep that to ourselves. But Mel Williams had 5 pressures off the edge yesterday. So there's your replacement. Jalix Hunt had a good game yesterday.
Yeah, Jalix the cat had a good game. Everybody had a good game up front. But it starts with Jalen Carter. So we were going back and forth. I said, Jeff, last week, who's the best player on the Philadelphia Eagles? And I think it's A.J. Brown. Everybody else thinks it's Saquon Barkley. I'm sure
they're 9-0 when A.J. Brown plays.
You know who might be the best player on the Philadelphia Eagles? Jalen Carter.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson went right up to me yesterday, and I'm talking to Carter, and said, should I say the actual word or should I bleep it out?
You can say it.
He's the best fucking defensive player in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, that's teammates, obviously pumping up teammates, but yeah,
but he's not wrong right now.
He's up there. I'll say this. I'll say that. He is having a tremendous year, and he's playing the whole game. He almost played he missed 1 snap again. He's playing the whole game. That's big, man. Vic's like, hey, he can play. He's going to play. And then we get to the MVP talk, and it's probably down to Saquon and Josh Allen.
Yeah. And look, I know what I'm wearing here, but Saquon Barkley solidified his front runnership for MVP.
I don't think he's a front runner, unfortunately. I think that's Josh Allen, but I think he's usurped the 2 Baltimore candidates for the time being. Unfortunately for Saquon, it's the quarterback award. So Josh Allen is going to have to shit the bed to lose it.
Which is a bunch of BS, by the way. I'm so sick of, they touch the ball every play. Yeah, okay, they touch the ball every play. Big deal.
Yeah, but truth be told, I mean, the Bills at 10-2 are he probably is the MVP, Josh Allen. I mean, quarterback touches the ball every play. I mean, I love Saquon Barkley. I'm the one who argued with John last week. He's the best player on the Eagles. But, most valuable player, I think it's probably the quarterback in Buffalo right now.
But what's the signature play right now? I'm sorry. I'll stand corrected on that. It was the play against the Chiefs, the 4th and 3.
I mean, Josh Allen
you're right. He doesn't have signature. Barkley does have signature moments. The backwards jump, the 300-yard game. He does have moments in there. You're right. That could.
I just think what Saquon Barkley has done in the second half of games this year. He has the highest yards per carry in the second half since Barry Sanders in '97. He's basically rewriting the record books for any running back in the second half right now. And we've been tracking play-by-play since 1991. It's what he is doing. Like I just mentioned, he has more fourth-quarter rushing yards than 2017. He has more rushing yards than 20 NFL teams. He has 1,499 rushing yards. And he was over 1,500 yesterday before the 5-yard loss. Like, what this guy is doing is just out of this world right now.
Yeah, I by the way, I liked Nick Sirianni. I asked him a question. He went totally off tangent. I asked him a question about the fourth quarter running game. And he took it and he started talking about Jalen Hurts as an MVP. And he mentioned the offensive line. I wish they can get a vote for MVP. I mean, the offensive line's a big part of it as well. When I talk about MVP, I'm just being realistic. It's a quarterback award.
It is, but I'm going to argue it. Like,
but it's not wrong for it to be a quarterback award. This is a quarterback-driven game. It really is.
But there's other players on the field. Like, do you think the quarterback is the MVP of the Detroit Lions? Really?
No, he's not. That's a good point.
Well,
but
all I'm trying to say is the fact that if you're playing running back in this era and you're in the conversation, you're having a great year. So I'm just preparing everybody for their disappointment.
I mean, if I'm going to be realistic here, it's going to be Josh Allen and Saquon Barkley's going to win Offensive Player of the Year.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. And I mean, look, I hear you. Josh Allen's not, but they're 10-2. Why are they 10-2? I mean, they're 10-2 because of Josh Allen. There's no other reason.
They are, and they don't have A.J. Brown on their team. They don't have Saquon Barkley on their team. It is him. Right. So I can understand why people vote for him. I just don't like how every year it's got to be a quarterback award. I don't like that.
Well, I don't like it either, but it is.
Randy Moss had 2,000 receiving yards one season. The reason why Tom Brady threw 50 touchdown passes was because of Randy frickin' Moss, and he couldn't win the MVP.
Yeah, well, there's a perfect example.
That's what bothers me about it. They're like, oh, Tom Brady had this historic season. I'm like, no, Randy Moss had the historic season.
Yeah, the only other instance I can think of where it went the other way, at least in my lifetime, was the Heisman when Devontae Smith won. There was many people who were like, "How's Devontae winning the Heisman when Mac Jones is the one throwing him the ball?"
Because Devontae is a freak.
I know, but Mac Jones had a crazy good year that way. That was an interesting debate at that time too.
It's just frustrating, like when you're watching, like even in college football, like I think Travis Hunter should win the Heisman this year. The guy plays both ways, and he's dominant both ways. But are they going to give it to Shedeur Sanders?
No, I think Travis. I think it should be Ashton Jeanty.
Ashton Jeanty's having a hell of a year. I
think he's the best player at his position in college football. I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting.
I think it should be the quarterback from Oregon.
Dylan Gabriel's really good too.
I mean, they're the best team. Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, a defensive player's not going to win the Heisman, but anybody seen what Carter's done the last 4 weeks?
I mean, how many games has Colorado lost, Jeff? Are they at 4?
Or is it 3? Are they 8-3?
I mean, I can't give them anybody on that team the Heisman just because Deion's there and everybody.
Well, that's what's happening.
3 freaking games.
That's what's happening.
Meanwhile, Dylan Gabriel, he's
incredible, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, give me a break. How is that even a conversation?
That I can never pronounce his last name. It's DJ Uga. Cousin or whatever on Oregon. Yeah. That guy's really good too.
Well, I don't know. I thought DJ was really good back in the day. I got that one wrong.
Yeah,
when he showed up to play for
Clemson,
Trevor Lawrence got hurt in season one year at Clemson, and he was at Clemson
when he played against Notre Dame. That game,
I don't remember, but he was unbelievable in that game. When he had to play for Trevor Lawrence, and everybody was like, oh, this kid's going to be even better than Trevor Lawrence, and this kid's going to be the number 1 pick, and yada, yada. Now he's on his 18th college, I think, and he stinks. Completely ruined Florida State.
By the way, Dabo Swinney needs to catch up with the times here. Not this, I'm not paying these guys. I'm not doing that. No, you have to do this, or you're not going to be a coach.
He's going to be gone, Jeff. He's not going to. We had him right here on JAKIB. He joined our afternoon show not too long ago, and he hates the new world of college football. And
I'm not a fan of it either, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't like it, but you're going to have to adapt, and I don't know if Dabo is going to.
Marcus Freeman, by the way, going to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears.
No way, the Notre Dame guy?
Yeah, that's my pick.
Is that your pick?
That's my pick.
I like that guy, Marcus Freeman.
He's a good coach.
Yeah, he's done a really good job.
By the way, again, look what I'm wearing today, but I thought it was so funny. Ohio State paid $22 million, and they still can't beat Michigan. That is hilarious. How much money they spent
for the walk-on quarterback.
I knew you were going to love that one.
It's great. How much they paid mediocre Will Howard because they couldn't get Dylan Gabriel. It's just funny how much they paid Quinshon Judkins and all these players. And
they should have Kyle McCord.
Yeah. And look, Michigan does it too.
In his Penn State quarters. We wonder why. You
can imagine how hyped up Jeff is. He's got Penn State. Saquon's tweeting out, oh, what an exciting win. Plus, Penn State football is going to get their asses wrecked by Oregon and the
don't matter. They're in. It's you got to have a chance to get your asses wrecked. That's what I.
Jeff, let me get back to the Eagles before we go on a too long of a tangent here. I want to ask you about one thing that may be my only concern left, Jeff, with this team, because I know the passing game isn't great, but when you have a number one defense in Saquon Barkley, I feel okay about it. What's up with the slow starts, Jeff Kerr? It's like this first quarter team. They're like a different football team. I mean, 4 straight punts yesterday. They're lucky the defense became stout and didn't let the Ravens take a 2-score lead or a multiple touchdown lead in that game. What is going on with the slow starts? How do you diagnose it? Is it Kellen Moore? Is it lack of relying on Saquon? Is it Jalen Hurts? Like, what is it that this team is so good for 75% of games and they just can't figure it out in the first quarter? How big of a problem is it to you, and where do you see the issue coming from?
I mean, it's a problem. There's no doubt about it. You can't be doing this again. I know. I said it.
I say it all the time, but they can evidently.
Yeah, I said it on the CBS Philly pregame show on Sunday. It was, you can't do this against a good team like the Baltimore Ravens, and they did it, and they still came back, and they took the lead right away. I can't explain what it is. Like, they're scripted plays. And Cooper DeJean said this yesterday. The scripted plays are just a different animal. That's why it kind of takes them as a defense a little bit to adjust, because then when the scripted plays are gone, it's like, okay, well, we can get in the flow of this. We see the tendencies. We know this. But the Eagles, you would think they'd be good with the scripted plays to Kellen Moore, right? It just seems like when they're not doing the scripted plays, they're better.
Doug Peterson let me in on the hint of scripted plays, and you're usually off script by third down.
That's a pretty good analysis.
Yeah, I just go, well, whatever it is, whether they're scripted or not scripted, they suck in the first quarter, and they're lucky the defense has been so damn good because it's kept every game within reach. And then
they're lucky Justin Tucker missed that extra point, which, by the way, I think that started the bad vibes for the Ravens.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely did. Definitely did. And then taking 14-yard sacks to take a 33-yard field goal and turn it into a 47-yard.
You know, Lamar did that twice yesterday.
Yeah.
And Tucker missed 2 field goals. Like, I think that was an underrated part of the game. People didn't acknowledge. I'm glad you did, John. Like, right before those field goals, he took some bad sacks and didn't need to.
Yeah. I mean, there's one thing. Look, if you're going to get sacked, like I said, the Eagles' pass rush was pretty good. You know, it gets sacked at 7 yards. Don't twirl around and turn it into a 14-yard sack. Now, again, it's Lamar Jackson. Sometimes he gets out of that and he makes a big play. So it's a delicate line. But when it doesn't work, it's ugly, man. You can't overcome 14-yard losses. And you got to understand the situation, and you got a struggling kicker, and you're pushing him out of his range, and you know, a 33-yarder, that's an extra point.
Yeah.
Probably bangs that through. Who knows? Maybe he's got.
But he did miss an extra point yesterday.
Yeah. Well, maybe he gets some confidence back, though, makes it, and then maybe he makes a 53-yarder. Who knows? But
for years, Justin Tucker has bailed that franchise out.
Yeah.
And I think they just take it for granted. And kickers go through this. Justin Tucker went through this once in 2015.
This is a pretty bad stretch, though. He's leading the NFL in missed kicks right now.
Yeah, Jake Elliott. I mean, you could argue the 2 best kickers in the NFL were Jake Elliott and Justin Tucker, or, you know, one
going into the year.
Versa. Yeah, and both are having bad seasons.
I like that dude in Kansas City. He's freaking good. Harrison Butker. He doesn't miss.
He's hurt.
I know he's hurt right now. Yeah, they're on their third.
You know who might be the best kicker in football?
Parker Romo.
Yeah, or Cameron Dicker.
What about that dude in Dallas? Or I guess he had a couple misses now.
Yeah. He's
Brandon Aubrey's still.
He's great though. He's great. Aubrey's great.
My buddy,
I forget who was it in the NFL yesterday that went for a win on a 68-yard kick. It came up short. Was it the Patriots?
I didn't know. Who
I
did that?
think it was it.
I think it was the Patriots. They attempted a 68-yard kick in the last second to try and win.
Why not? Like, you're down one.
As well,
like a Hail Mary.
Yeah, I guess at that point, it's
you got to have a kicker who's capable. Certain guys like Aubrey, he can get it there from 68.
By the way, guys, are we at the point where look, the Chiefs are not winning pretty. They're 11-1, but are we at the point where the two best teams in the NFL are Detroit and Philly?
I think so.
I think so too. I mean,
I would rate them 1, 2. Yeah.
I mean, if someone told me the Eagles were better than the Lions right now, I wouldn't disagree with them.
I will. I think they are, Jeff. I think they are.
They're playing better than them right now.
Yeah, they're playing better than them right now.
Yeah, and I think the Lions. I mean, look, the Lions did get some injuries that are that Anzalone player. He was playing really good for them.
Alex Anzalone's a good player. They're getting a lot of injuries on their side of the ball.
Who went down last week? Who'd they lose on Thanksgiving for the
Malcolm Rodriguez?
Malcolm Rodriguez. Yeah, they lost another linebacker on top end.
Yeah. I got to go off on a tangent here with that Lions-Bears game because I did that for CBS. What Matt Eberflus did, he should not have been allowed to get back in that locker room. You don't let your rookie. I don't care.
Well, they chased him out of the locker room. Jalen Johnson chased him out, evidently.
Did you hear what? I think it was DJ Moore. What he said, as players, we did enough to win the game.
Well, they did.
Yeah. Like, you don't, I don't care.
Well, they did enough to tie the game, and who knows what happens in overtime.
But you still had the game tied at the very least. Oh, by the way, I argued with a fan the other day on X about, I said the Bears, I said my overreactions piece, my column, that the Bears were at the 13. He's like, no, they were never at the 13. I'm like, they were at the 13-yard line. They're at the 13-yard line before the flag is announced. So you were at the 13-yard line. Whoa, no. I'm like, no, you're at the 13-yard line. That's how it says it in the game book.
By the way, dummy Caleb Williams deserves some credit for that loss.
Well, no, he does. And I that was part of my column. Like, Caleb Williams, whatever he was doing at the line. But you're a head coach. That's a
I'm with you. You got to save the dummy from himself. I
don't know what the hell Caleb Williams is doing though, because I could understand that. Okay, they wanted to get on the ball to run a play so they could go anywhere.
Yeah, you want to re-rack the play. I'm fine with that.
And then you take a timeout because if you don't have a timeout, you can't throw the ball to the middle of the field. You got to get out of bounds. So I'm like, okay, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to pick up some yards, get back in field goal range, and then
it took them 30 seconds to even do that. And then by then it was too late.
Stand at the line of scrimmage, flapping, changing plays. Yeah, I'm like, dude, hunt the ball.
Do you think he knew how much time there was left?
Well, I don't know. The whole point is, as the head coach, you have to see the dummy is making the dumb mistake, and you got to be a foxhole guy, and you got to save him. You got to save him.
Boy, John, you're still using terms from yesterday. Foxhole guy. When I came on here,
I've been using foxhole guy for years.
You stole DeCheco's War and Peace line yesterday. What are you doing?
No, well, first of all, DeCheco steals my foxholes. No, come on, let's be honest.
But no, DeCheco's the one who started War and Peace.
He did. He started War and Peace. We go back and forth. We steal from each other. We're high football IQ guys, Andrew and I. So we steal from each other. But no, I'm the foxhole guy. I'm not a foxhole guy.
Yeah. I'm writing something yesterday, and he goes, "What is this War and Peace here?" That's their highest transcript.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah, that thing came in. But yeah, I was saving lives last night. Everybody else is not a foxhole guy.
Yeah, you saved lives, and you're the only one who got crab cakes last night.
That's true.
Jeff, John McMullen had. By the way, Sandra, I gotta explain this here. John McMullen was if you had to do a winners and losers from the game last night, John McMullen's one of them. He went. He was patiently waiting. Did not weigh in.
Is he in the winner column or the loser?
Oh, he's in the winner column.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm a savvy. I'm a savvy veteran.
This wasn't. I don't even call this a veteran move. I call this a smart move. So everybody's waiting in line for these crab cakes. The Ravens are announcing that the crab cakes aren't ready yet. John McMullen's like, okay. They announced the crab cakes are there. McMullen leaves. He didn't miss anything. He missed 3 plays.
He missed a 3 and out for 3 crab cakes. I'll make that trade 99 times out of 100.
That's a vet. John, that's a vet move. I like that move.
DeCheco and I just didn't want to get up.
Triple crab cakes. I like it.
We had Ed Kratz and Al Thompson between us. We just didn't want to get up.
Yeah, that's a vet move by John. Jeff, I got to come to you and ask about this passing game. I'm feeling better about it because the defense is so good and Saquon Barkley is such a good closer. But you do have to wonder at some point. It's like you got AJ. I know Devontae didn't play yesterday, but any concern
didn't have Dallas
from
yesterday either. late in the game.
Any concern from you on where the passing game is, or is it more just a product of this is what they've needed to do to win games and it's worked, so they haven't had to pass the ball? Where are you on the Eagles passing game right now and how you think it's coming along this season?
I mean, it helps they have leads in the second half of these games so they can do this, but you're right. Like, what's going to happen when they do trail in the fourth quarter? They're going to have to throw it. Look, I think Jalen Hurts has been a top 10 quarterback this year, but I'm concerned about how they kind of limited him. He threw 5 passes in the second half yesterday. I know they didn't run a lot of plays in the third quarter, but he was 2 for 5 in the second half yesterday.
They ran 6 plays in the third quarter.
Yeah.
2 3 and outs.
I mean, there are concerns. I mean, there's no doubt about it, but I just keep looking at the raw numbers. And look, I know people hate this when some people say this, but the number one stat I look at with quarterbacks is how often do you turn the football over? That's why I shit on Jordan Love as much as I do, because that guy turns the ball over.
I love Jordan Love.
Yeah,
I love him.
Look,
Go make a play. When he beats Detroit on Thursday night,
he will beat Detroit on Thursday. I'm picking the Packers in that game.
Or he might turn it over.
Jared Goff turns it over a lot too, but when he doesn't, he's really good.
You know, that's my concern. And we got to go. Make sure you follow Jeff on the X platform at Jeff Kerr CBS. Make sure you read him at CBS. He's all over the place. Phillies as well. You can find Jeff on CBS on the pregame show. All over the place, Jeff Kerr, and we appreciate when he comes in. But my concern is, look, great quarterbacks, you ask to do things. And the Eagles aren't asking Jalen Hurts to do things. So I go back to that Nick Sirianni, War and Peace, Jeff. And that question I asked him, he went on a complete tangent to defend Jalen Hurts.
Nick went out of his way. He didn't have to do that.
What you know, they're not asking him to do anything. That's not a concern at all.
But this is why I look, I wasn't there for Nick. I was talking to Cooper DeJean when all this happened yesterday. But when I read what Nick said and then heard it, this is what bothers me. If I'm Nick Sirianni, you know what I would say? I put up the stat I put up this morning. Best win percentage among active quarterbacks, minimum 50 starts. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. Finn, end, done. I don't care.
No concern.
He wins a lot of games.
Well, that's true. That's true.
I mean, Jalen says it best, that the only stat he cares about is winning. Well, I don't. That's the thing. Like, yeah, am I concerned he throws 19 passes? Yeah, but doesn't turn the football over. When he doesn't turn the football over, they're like,
the football over. You turn the football over when you're asked to do things. Like he was asked to do things against
week 1. He was asked to do a lot of things,
and he turned
the ball over.
Yeah.
I think
when you're asked to do it, like when you're asked to make plays down the field, like Jordan Love, yeah, occasionally you're going to turn it over, but they're asking him to make plays down the field. Now,
you think they just adjusted everything when they knew Devonta wasn't going to play, which, by the way, they knew he wasn't going to play for things. And same thing, like when Dallas Goedert gets hurt, it's like, okay, we're kind of limited here. Like, we have Jahan Dotson, we have Britton Covey, who, by the way, was hurt. He's fine, right, John? You talked to him.
Yeah.
So
now Britton's not the best doctor. You know, remember when he broke his hand, he thought he was out for the season.
Dr. Britton Covey.
Yeah.
But yeah, Paris Campbell. It's like, look, you have AJ Brown, who the Ravens are really focusing on. They're like, okay, well, got Saquon. It's tough, right? But
I don't know. I'm just saying, it's weird to call a quarterback great when he's not asked to do anything.
Sometimes the best medicine, though, is to protect someone from themselves.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, Jalen is not an MVP candidate this year.
No, he's not.
If you can win that way, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Look, I'm not gonna. This is not a slight on Jalen Hurts by any means here. But if I'm ranking players on the Eagles' offense, it's AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, however way you want to do it. Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, then Jalen Hurts. or Devonta Smith than Jalen Hurts? Like, is that a bad thing?
You could even probably argue a couple more offensive linemen in there.
Yeah, I mean,
Lando deserves.
Yeah, Dickerson, I'm slighting him. Dallas Goedert, I'm slighting him.
Yeah.
That dude's an absolute monster. So Mekhi Becton looks like he's been playing guard his whole life. I mean, he's a beast in there, dude. He's a beast.
He was wearing the gorilla after the game. He's got the big ticket chain.
I love it. The big ticket chain is iconic. I love the big ticket chain.
Yeah, but look, that's not a slight on Jalen Hurts either. Like, look, if you're an Eagles fan, just look at it this way: the guy wins. He wins games.
He does.
Who's doing this?
I feel better about it, Jeff, than most. But I do think it's fair. I mean, what John is saying. I mean, Cilio says the same thing. I think it's fair. They're not asking him to do much right now. He's a game manager.
It's more than fair to have that conversation. But I've had people say, "Put Kenny Pickett in." I'm like, you do know there's a reason why Kenny Pickett got traded. Right?
But I mean, like, I do think there's got to be a course correction when people say, well, Jordan Love, like you brought up Jordan, he turns the ball over. Well, shit, they ask him to do a shitload. And he does turn it over too much. I'm with you.
And if you're going to say that, you got to be fair. When they asked Jalen to do a lot this year, the first 4 games, he had 7 turnovers.
Look, he's not better than Mahomes. He's not better than Allen. He's not better than Jackson. He beats them, but he's not a better player than him, but he does beat these guys. So there has to be something in there. Like,
there is. I still say to this day in the Super Bowl, the best player on the field was Jalen Hurts. How do we get back to that?
Can Shane Steichen come back?
No.
Shane with a big 2-point conversion to win. Guts.
We were having a conversation yesterday before that loss. Before that victory, like, if the Colts lost, who gets fired first, Shane or John? Well, John Gann ain't going anywhere.
I don't think
JG should have won that game, man. Come on, JG. You got to win that game. They were up 19-6, I think.
I know we talk about Saquon being the MVP here, but Vic Fangio.
Yeah, Big's the MVP.
There's an assistant coach of the year award.
I believe there is one now.
Give it to Vic Fangio. Jesus.
I think he is going to win.
Like,
he's going to win it.
They went from 31st to 1st in pass defense overnight. They haven't allowed over 225 passing yards since, like, I want to say week 4. It's like their longest streak since the 70s.
I think Lamar beat it, but just barely.
Zach Vaughn. The story of
237.
Zach Vaughn,
okay,
237.
Or maybe it's under 250.
The story of Vaughn alone is enough for him to win Assistant of the Year. I mean, they took an outside edge guy who's been in the league for 4 years, and you're talking about assistant coaches. I've seen him, linebacker coach,
it's an all-pro.
All these dudes, and Vic Fangio's like, I'm gonna have him play inside linebacker.
Yeah.
And not only is he doing it, he's grading out better than Fred Warner, for crying out loud.
Xander, I was so upset when the Eagles gave up that touchdown with 3 seconds left. Do you know there's only been, since Lamar Jackson's been the starter, there's only been twice that Lamar Jackson has been held to 0 points in the second half. A Lamar Jackson offense, and they were both against the Steelers. That's how good Vic Fangio is. Lamar Jackson had to get a BS 40-yard run and a BS touchdown in garbage time.
Yeah, they were playing prevent. I mean, he ran 40 yards.
Well, yeah, that's why stats like that don't matter, Jeff.
Yeah.
Because, there's garbage time and there's bullshit.
You know who's the king of garbage time? And a lot of people on this chat are going to love when I say it. Dak Prescott.
Yeah, he is the ultra.
He's a big garbage time guy. Kirk Cousins is a big garbage time guy.
Yeah, he is a big garbage time guy.
Hey, but can we hate on him, though? I mean, it gets these guys paid, the garbage time. And Dak Prescott's making $60 million large.
As long as people keep looking at the game book and don't put it in context,
who would you rather have? Jalen Hurts, game manager, 44-19, or Dak Prescott can't get out of the freaking second round of the playoffs?
Yeah, you're right.
Like, I love when people just that's one thing I'll go to bat for Hurts any day of the week. Jalen can't do this. Jalen can't do that. And they're usually from the same type of people, Cowboys fans. I'm like, well, let me tell you something. When's the last time Jalen Hurts been to a Super Bowl?
You
don't get there by accident.
piling on those poor Dallas people.
They deserve everything they get.
Fuck
They
them.
really
They got
do.
no
So
remorse.
do Giants fans. Every Giants fan that told me how overrated Barkley is, I'm like, no, your team sucks. And I'll tell you what. Even the players on your team say they suck.
I did not believe that he was this type of player. I'm the first to admit that.
I could tell you that.
And that, well, yeah, but you're, no offense, but you're a Penn State guy. I mean, you're kind of biased in that.
Yeah, he was always a generational player.
Well, I always said, if you're that good, it'll show up no matter how bad the team is. But I was wrong. The Giants are that bad. I mean,
yeah, they're bad.
They're the worst run organization in football, and there's some bad run organizations in football. There's a lot of bad organizations.
Jeff, we got to run, brother. We are up against it, man. I appreciate you doing it today, and we'll talk to you again next week. All right, brother?
That sounds great. I got a lot of cramming and writing to do. And John and I were in a car way too long yesterday.
I believe it. All right, Jeff. Good talking to you, man.
See you guys. Thanks.
Good stuff. Make sure you guys follow Jeff at Jeff Kerr CBS. I don't know why his audio comes through so dang clear, and it's every once in a while his video just freezes up, drives me crazy. Let's get to it. We got a couple super chats real quick, John, and then we'll get to our break. Tell Jeff Kerr to get faster internet. It's clean. I know it stinks, Jonathan, but I can't obviously control everybody's internet. Rashid says, I just watched our team be down 2 scores to a top team and Jalen make throws during that stretch when needed. What are we talking about?
Make throws?
Second quarter, I do think he made some throws. I mean, they put a graphic on the screen, John. That
he had the AJ
9 out of 10 or 9 of 11 or whatever it was. He had 0 for 4.
He had 11 completions. He had 1 complete. In the fourth quarter, the 3rd and 7, which I said was the biggest play of the game. I mean, he was 11 of 19 for 119 yards. All right. If you're good, if you're fine with that, you're fine with that. That's all. That's what he was.
Is John McMullen fine with that?
No. It should be better. Why isn't it better? Is my point.
I'm not.
Now we're nitpicking. I could go down every starting cornerback in the NFL. I would bet. I haven't looked, but I would bet everybody's above 119. I would bet every single other starting quarterback in the NFL yesterday was above 119. I don't know if they were.
Yeah, probably not wrong about that. But, I mean, how much of that goes to just the way the team is built? I mean, we're a good football team.
Well, it does. I mean, is that sustainable?
Right.
It certainly looks like it's going to be sustainable in the regular season. This was their toughest test, and they got by it. So the only thing we're talking about here, and it's admittedly nitpicking. I hope I shouldn't have to make people understand that, but if I have to, they're freaking 10-2. Obviously, it's nitpicking. They're very successful. So if you can do it this way, great. Can you do it this way?
I will. Yeah. I mean, look, for all the criticism anybody wants to give Hurts, and I'll even add Sirianni, the winning started at an unprecedented level when these guys showed up, John. I mean,
well, I agree.
14 wins. Last year they started 10-2. I know they collapsed. This year they're now 10-2. I mean, even with Carson Wentz, we were 9-8 multiple years.
I agree. I've said it multiple times. Again, people hear what they want to hear. I've said it multiple times. He's a winner. I call him relentless, even when he plays
I'm
poorly.
not saying that at you. I'm just saying in general.
He makes plays to get you over the top. He's unquestionably a winner. But for all the people that dismiss it, like that's not typical NFL quarterback play to play 60 minutes of football against a team that, all we talked about is how bad that Ravens pass defense was coming in. And he threw for 119 yards. Now, who's moving the goalposts now? You got to get the passing game going. You got to get the passing game going. You got to get the passing game. Now it's whittled down to, in the small moments where they threw the ball in the second quarter and fourth quarter, it looked pretty good. 11 of 19 for 119 yards. There's a reason Nick Sirianni went off script to specifically get out a message about the quarterback because he saw that freaking game book. They get it before we do.
Yeah. Brian Pumper checks in. Avonte Maddox had 2 snaps, but they were two of the most catastrophic snaps I've ever witnessed. This guy used to be underrated. Now he's ass. He is not very good anymore.
He's
John.
not having a good. He's not having a good season. I think cut him the 2 most catastrophic snaps. But yeah, it wasn't good.
Right there, John. That's Pumper. That's what he does.
Right. Yeah. He's not good. He did get Sidney Brown was in there when they don't play much dime, number one. And that's the only time Avonte plays now. So
yeah, they live in mostly quarters coverage.
Yeah, well, that's their default setting. But dime is just personnel grouping. So that means 6 defensive backs on the field. So they rarely have 6 defensive backs on the field. And that's the only time he plays now. And then at one point, I think I saw Sidney out there, but there's no snaps on him. But they barely played dime to begin with, and maybe they're going to play dime less now. Because he's not playing well, at least until they get somebody up to speed.
Trash.
He's not playing well. It's a shame. He was underrated. And the NFL moves fast. Just because you were good doesn't mean you're going to be good in perpetuity. I talk about it all the time. The team
that was in the Super Bowl last year just got blown out on Sunday Night Football, and they're 5-7 now, I think.
Yeah.
The Niners. Suo Blaze says, "Yo, fellas, I was at the game, had a blast. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Hope you enjoyed the game. Did you look around and see the great John McMullen up in the press box, Suo Blaze? Did you see Johnny Mac?"
Yeah, a little bit of flurries too. Got even a little bit of snow.
Well, it's damn cold here in right outside of Philadelphia this morning. I'll tell you that much. It's like 20 degrees out. Prince checks in. Josh Allen. Oh, Prince. Prince, you're better than this, Prince. Please, Prince. He says Josh Allen was 11 of 13 for 148. Dude, there was like a foot of snow on the ground.
And he still beat him. That's my point, dude. You're making my point, so thank you.
Prince, you're better than that, Prince. I know you, Prince. You're better than that.
Thanks for making my point. There were a lot of bad games. Justin Herbert was at like 147, but he's above 119.
Yeah, I try not to get too caught up in the stats because they're they don't tell the full story. But
shit,
that's a low number for sure.
Yeah, that is.
He says, "Does Cooper the Kingslayer get an interception before Q? He might, man. Cooper DeJean is amazing, John. He just
really
makes plays everywhere.
So was Quignon, but
Quignon is too. But Cooper's a different type of player. Cooper's like elite athleticism. I mean, all over the field. Great tackler. Just he does a lot of things he's a really fun player to watch.
Yeah, Quignon had a shot at another interception. He didn't come down with it. I saw Alec Alabi, saying he's going to get one.
Yeah, we know why.
That's the only thing with Quignon, but he's playing great. Cooper. Cooper DeJean. There's so many good stories on that defense, and Cooper's another one of them. That's the only thing I criticize Vic for. It took too long to get to Cooper DeJean because of bullshit missing 20 days in training camp.
Yeah.
Who cares? He's been. You could argue he's been the best slot cornerback in football as a rookie. And that's a difficult position to play because of the run fits. And you see how physical he is. But you go back to the Cincinnati game. Like people talk about the hit. Who cares? Derek was all balanced. A great hit, blah, blah, blah.
It wasn't you wrapped him up low.
Well, no, it was great. I'm not. It was a good play. But I'm saying go back to the Cincinnati game, the Jamar Chase, the 4th and 1.
That was
go back to the other 4th and 1 the next week. Those are the plays. Those are the really impressive plays. Not making a nice tackle on the open field. I mean, all right.
Which I'll take, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I'll take.
Sue Blaze says, that was the most slants I've seen AJ run, and I loved every bit of it. Well, evidently it wasn't enough. He only had 6 catches for like 60 yards. But
RPO, man. That's another thing. It was very successful. Very successful.
Yeah.
In that second that drive. Boy, they're dumbing it down, man. Where's this Kellen Moore? Where's everybody complain? Winning cures everything.
It does, John. I mean, look, you say
I mean, my God, all these people talked about in the offseason was, it's got to be more inventive. It's got to be more creative. And
I was one of them. I'm thinking pro-style offense is coming.
And they're out there running bullshit college, nothing RPOs, and everybody's losing their mind. Yeah, because it works. It works. And by the way, I give Kellen Moore credit because he could have come in here and ran what he ran in Dallas, and everybody wants all that and look like shit, or he could take advantage of what he has. And he's taking advantage of what he has. And that's good coaching.
Yeah. No doubt. Let's get to a commercial break. We should have Chris Franklin. If we don't get Chris Franklin, we'll maybe push him to tomorrow or whenever he gets up. It is tough to get up on Birds 365 for some of these guys. So not going to hold Chris' feet to the fire. If he joins him, we'll get him up. If not, we'll talk to him tomorrow. I appreciate everybody being here, by the way, on the show today. Got a great crowd, as always. How many likes can we get today for the 8 straight wins for the Birds? They're now 10-2, everybody. Can you ever believe that? We started 2-2. In a way,
they were always 10-2. This is the third straight year. The spoiled.
It's clockwork, John. They're 10-2.
My Lord. Well, I think they're 11-1 in 2020. The
first time they started 10-2, John, they went to the Super Bowl. The second time they started 10-2, they fell off the face of the planet. Let's see what happens this time.
Yeah. But this team's been pretty impressive by this stage of the year. I mean, you think about it. I think they were 11-1 in 2022. I'd have to look, but then they were 10.
That year they went. Did they go 14-3? No. That was 2022 was the Super Bowl year.
Yeah.
Well, they ended 14-3, so I don't know what they were.
Yeah, but they lost some games when Jalen got hurt. Remember, they had to play.
Yeah, Gardner. Right. Sorry, Gardner played 2 games.
They were 14-1 with Jalen Hurts. But I believe they started 11-1, and then they started last year 10-2. That's that they were 10-1, and then I believe that started everything. The second loss, and now they're 10-2 again. So through 12 games each year, 11-1, 10-2, 10-2.
Good start. Chuck says Xander will get more likes if he gives away a Saquon jersey. That's all these people. I think that's all the only reason they like me now, John, is because I'm giving away
Saquon. Well, yeah. You set yourself up. People like free shit. Vix talks about it all the time.
8 yards short, Chuck. Unfortunately, no giveaway this week, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't like the show. Come on, Chuck. All right, hit that like button.
People like free shit.
People do. That's all right. I like free shit too. People, a lot of our viewers deserve the free shit, the support they give us, and we appreciate it. Let's get to one more break here, and then we'll talk to hopefully Chris Franklin. If not, I got a couple more super chats and topics to run by John after the 8th straight win for the Birds. Before I get to our break, let me tell you guys about the great people at BetUS. You can see the promo code I put on your screen. It's YouTube150. It gives you a 150% sign-up bonus on your very first deposit, and you get 125% on your second and third deposit, all up to $2,000. So deposit less and bet with more at BetUS. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. We'll be back in 3 minutes, everybody, on Birds 365.